Resilience, Recovery and Development. What have we learned? Iona Campbell, SBH Scotland.
Hi everybody, I am Iona from Spina Bifida Hydrocephalus Scotland. I currently work as the project manager within the clinical innovation and research team, but also do a bit of fundraising as well. This project that we've been working on, which has been funded by Alliance, is all to do with aging and adulthood. Well, we're calling it adulthood and aging with Spina Bifida and hydrocephalus. So spina bifida is a neural tube defect that happens, develops during pregnancy. People tend to find out if their baby has spina bifida around the 20-week scan, and kind of neural tube defect can be prevented with taking folic acid, although it's obviously not 100% effective. So obviously taking folic acid is great. This can lead to, for people that are born with spina bifida, this can lead to complications with mobility, continence, posture, and these things tend to deteriorate as well with age. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more in a minute. 80% of people with spina bifida also have hydrocephalus, which is a buildup of fluid kind of around the base of the skull, top of the spine. This can lead to issues around kind of cognitive functioning, so processing behaviour, memory, things like that. And a person with spina bifida may learn slightly differently than the general population. But so we really tailor our resources to be accessible to all of our service users. So aging with spina bifida, people tend to begin aging earlier than the general population. We are encouraging our service users to even start thinking about it from about the age of 25. And it's not really about aging, it's more about changes in the body, transitions in life. And I think if we actually would maybe go back and redo this project, we wouldn't maybe necessarily just call it aging, but we'd be thinking about transitioning through adulthood. And just transitioning through the life journey of having spina bifida and hydrocephalus. So we encourage our service users to try and start thinking about it at the age of 25, even though this project is funded from 35 plus, really because that is kind of a preemptive approach. And we can catch the people that are kind of in that age range right now. What is most interesting about that is that a lot of 25-year-olds, some of them will have just transitioned from paediatric to adult healthcare and will still be dealing with the kind of the changes that come with that. So it can be quite overwhelming going from you're a child, you're a teenager, then all of a sudden you're aging. So we really are trying to look at it as life transitions and noticing changes to the body over time. But also the other things that come with becoming an adult, more responsibility, independence, all that sort of stuff. So the International Federation for Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus published a study, I believe it was in 2019 or 2020, this came out, and this is kind of where our project was based upon. And it looked into areas around financial well-being, physical health, emotional and mental health, legal concerns, social interaction, employment, and also housing as well. And it looked at the deterioration across these areas, and there was significant deterioration or slight deterioration across all of these areas for people with spina bifida and hydrocephalus above the age of 35. So we did our own survey to try and kind of understand how this affects people in Scotland. And we did this in November 2021, I believe. So at the beginning of the project, we really wanted to understand what our service users were experiencing. So as you can see there, 79% of people with spina bifida and hydrocephalus have experienced deterioration in their physical health. And this is above the age of 25. But we split that into two areas, 25 to 44 and then 44 and above, to kind of understand how it was affecting different people in different ways. Also significant deteriorations and slight deteriorations in mental health as well. And a lot of this is to do with, as you can see at the bottom, affecting being able to do the things that you enjoy doing, or that our service users enjoy doing. So we've really been focusing on kind of what does that mean? What are the things that service users enjoy? and what is the barriers to those things. So within the same survey, we asked what areas they would like to focus on, and we also gathered some qualitative data as well about so they could provide longer answers about their experience. We've also done another survey since then, and in about November of last year, no, maybe a bit earlier, in October of last year, and that gathered a lot of qualitative information on physical health. These are some of the areas as well that that came up often. So nutrition and exercise for wheelchair and non-wheelchair users, mental health support. We find that living with a long-term health condition can bring out a lot of areas of stress, high anxiety levels, and that can be linked to numerous different things. So we try to think about their well-being as a holistic thing, and kind of the whole organization likes to look at well-being kind of as a holistic thing, so that we can think about, okay, perhaps pain levels are higher, so you're not sleeping as much, so you're more tired, so your anxiety levels are higher, and thinking about kind of the chain of how everything fits in together. And we've recently introduced our health and well-being app, which allows people to track these things. And although that's not part of this project, it's nice because it all links in together. We also are able to provide our adults with advice on continence and pain management, weight management through our clinic service. And then on this project, we focus specifically on delivering workshops and self-management guides. So you can see here kind of how our services are all linked in together, including the areas of this project. So we were to provide 6 self-management workshops and 6 self-management guides. And then that kind of links into our other services as well: wellbeing counselling, health and wellbeing clinic, financial advice, which we have now got collaboration with Citizens Advice Scotland for income maximisation, carer support, both directly and indirectly, through supporting our service users, and an online hub space as well, where we could hold all of these resources, and of course our health and wellbeing clinics, which are now in the north and the west of the country, and they kind of link into the subjects that we focus on in the workshops and self-management guides. So what is the scope? Like I say, this was for people aged 35 plus, that are kind of starting to experience that aging. That 25 plus is kind of more about thinking about it before you start aging. And for the resources can be available up to 530 people. So it depends. The workshops have lower numbers, but those that can access the guides, there's no limit to that really. And we hope that also this can be useful for other neurological health conditions as well, because a lot of it is very generalizable. Also carer support. We created a carers guide last year as well, that we're kind of just working on finessing at the moment, which is all about kind of planning for the future, dealing with stress, and supporting a person with spina bifida. And also providing links to resources that we have as well, and open access to resources, like I said. So these are kind of the outcome areas that we're looking at. We're hoping to see kind of improvement in these areas, and having done our surveys, we are seeing improvements in these areas. So self-management is a big thing for us. Obviously, it's the self-management fund, but self-management is kind of key, and that along with that health literacy, we hope that people will have a better understanding of their own bodies, their own physical and mental health, and also thinking about how can that lead to kind of empowerment and being able to advocate within healthcare and social situations, and just where more knowledge around your own health is useful. And like I say, it can start to build up kind of dignity, self-compassion, self-esteem. And we actually started out the project focusing on those areas. We thought it was good to focus on the mental health first and then build up from there. So those are kind of just the areas that we were mentioning before, and these are some of the proposed topics that we had. Like I say, some of them were more difficult than others, and we've just discovered that kind of over the project. For example, discussing things like sexual health, incontinence, or pain even, can be more difficult kind of having a workshop, but we've kind of looked at ways that we can create guides rather than that people can go away and look at themselves rather than be in person. But then with other things we've done in person are kind of things around mindfulness. We had a wee exercise session, which was quite good. Exercise with reduced mobility. And we also had a session thinking about what is well-being and how does it all fit in together. So these are some of the kind of the posters we had. Healthy living with living a healthy lifestyle with Spina Bifida Hydrocephalus, and we focused on wheelchair and non-wheelchair users because we do have a large cohort. They can range from very mobile to people that are in wheelchairs long term. And that was actually a really fun session. We had two of our OT students that were in at the time deliver the workshop, and they did the first half, they focused on exercise, and we had tins and resistance bands and things, so that was good fun. And then the second half we focused on nutrition and looked at some recipes and things. But definitely lifting those tins and doing resistance bands at the start was great for building the endorphins at the beginning of the session. So that was good fun. And we actually repeated that online. So we did it in person and online and just changed it up slightly, focused more on kind of mobility and things, and provided some YouTube videos and things that people could look at. Then we also did, this was last year, a wellness and self-management workshop. This isn't all the workshops we've done. This is just kind of a wee snippet. And like I say, this was kind of all about goal setting and thinking about well-being as one kind of working, the cogs all working together and how they all fit in together. And thinking about mindfulness and things like that as well. And previous to that, I should have probably put these in the other order, left to right. But anyway, before that, we did sessions with Iona Campbell from Direction, and these were great. These were focusing on building resilience and wellness, this one is about, but we also did a confidence building one as well last year, which this was great kind of start to the project, really just getting people to think about being kind to themselves and how could they improve their literacy around their health to be kind to themselves. These are some photos from some of the workshops we did. You might not be able to see at the top there, but that was an online one, the one on the left. The students are up in the corner. This was kind of during Omicron wave, but we delivered that online, and about 10 people came along to that. And then on the right here was our first workshop in person. And this was one where we had kind of people in the centre. We had about 5 come to the centre and then about 9 attend the online workshop. So that was great. And then previous to that with Angie Cameron, we had, I think, around 10 for each session. So that was great. So moving on to the self-management guides. So with the guides, we've been able to focus kind of, I suppose, on more sensitive topics that people can go away and look at themselves. And we've also been working with PAMIS over the last 6 months, delivering postural care workshops. So this is kind of linked in well with that project. And it's really built up our knowledge on posture as well, and how it affects different areas of the body. And that was really helpful for this project. So we have a posture kind of guide brought together, and we're also going to be developing one with PAMIS as well, separate project, but very linked. But also we did mobility and safe transfers as well. And some of our OT students did a bit of research on that. And we found OT, occupational therapy students, very, very useful to this project because they were able to provide that kind of holistic understanding of well-being, and have come up with some really great ideas. Like I said, we've had guides to go along with each of the workshops as well, so that people can go away and watch them and look at a guide at the same time. And we also focused on grief, which was something that some of our service users told us that they kind of, with early aging also comes people dying kind of sooner. So that means that sometimes people are experiencing their friends passing away earlier than they think. That it would happen. So we focused on grief, but also thinking about grief in general. Once you're kind of start to age, also some of your friends pass away, maybe your parents pass away. So we were thinking about how do we deal with grief. Menopause was also another big thing that came up, and there's very, very little research online about menopause and spina bifida. So I think our student kind of found it quite difficult to do this bit, but they came up with some really useful, a really useful guide for people based on kind of the general population and the little bits that we found on spina bifida, but also was able to speak to our nurse as well, who she focuses a lot on continence and sexual health. So that was great. We also, like I said, we're setting up an online hub space, and this is kind of based off of SMS Connect, which is from another charity. But we kind of like the idea of this having discussion spaces, resources. We could put up a place where we could say what events we're on and things. So we're in the process of setting all of this up at the moment, just getting all together. And this is ours here. This is what it looks like on the page at the moment. So it's the SBH Scotland online hub. And we're keen to kind of have it look quite similar to our website, so that it would be kind of a blend, just kind of a similar experience for people. And then, so this is kind of up and running, and it's going to have all the different sections that we've been focused on, and all the guides will be held on there. And then we've also been thinking about carers and long-term planning and planning for the future for service users, which can involve carers and parents as well, and those that are just around as their support network. So things like planning for retirement, anticipated care planning, even moving out can be a thing that can happen slightly later in life for the cohort with spina bifida. So we have been kind of looking at that as well, and we actually have occupational therapy students who are with us today in the session who are thinking about doing a little bit around that planning for the future and things. And this directly and indirectly supports carers in that planning is kind of, it's looking at a well-being plan for the whole family, rather than just including carers, rather than just for the person with the condition. And also our carers guide looks at kind of accessing respite, and also links towards kind of adult carer support plans and things like that. Also speaking to healthcare professionals and being prepared for healthcare appointments and healthcare visits and things is a massive thing that we've been working on. So we've created a kind of a pocket self-management guide that you can take along to your appointment and things. And it's all about this what matters to you conversation, and including that in and thinking about things in advance of how am I feeling, how is my pain levels, how have I been sleeping, and being able to take that along to their appointment means that they're not relying on memory as much for people with hydrocephalus. And this complements the use of our app as well. Some people don't like using apps, so we thought it would be good to have a pocket guide, and also it can complement it too. So this kind of all links in together, and we're just trying to tie up loose ends at the moment, because it's a lot of work, but we've managed to get quite a lot of it done, so we're very happy with that. My contact details are a bit they are there, but they're a bit messed up, I think, so I can put that in the chat if anybody's interested. But yes, so that's our aging project, and if anybody's got any questions, you feel free to email me.